Okay, so far we've just done pretty simple stuff. If I give you this equation, 3c equals 24, what is this 3c called again? Do you remember? Nope. Starts with a C. Close. Coefficient. Good job, buddy. So this is called a coefficient. Anytime you see a coefficient, this means that you're multiplying, okay? So some people were getting stuck on these yesterday. If we're multiplying here, what are we doing underneath? Divide. So C equals, hello, 8. Good. So this is what we've done so far. I'm adding one more step. And it's not gonna be that much harder. You're just gonna have to remember I always do the opposite. So if I have 3c minus 4 equals 20. I've got more than one operation going on in here. But you're going to do the exact same thing. You always want to take care of the coefficient last and take care of the easy stuff first. So if I have a minus 4 here, what do I need to put down here? Plus 4. Remember, the opposite operation is how you get through these. So if I have a negative 4, I'm going to put a positive 4. So I'm going to add 4 to both sides. These go away as soon as I do that, and I'm left with 3c equals 24, which gets me right back to where I was before. So what do I have to do? If I'm multiplying on this side, next year, they're not going to write the division sign like I did on the first example. They're just going to put a line under it. It means the same thing. This is how your middle school teachers are going to write it, though. So these guys cancel out, and C equals 8 again. I just added another step. So if there are more than one operation going on, knock out the easy one first, always divide last, okay? So you're always doing the inverse operation to simplify the equation. I'm going to show you one more that I haven't seen in the Go Math book, but you're going to have it, okay? So sometimes you're going to have, let me think for a second. Sorry, I got to think through the answer. Sometimes you're going to have a variable at the bottom. Remember how I said you never want to have a negative x? This is kind of the same thing. Okay, I don't want this variable at the bottom here. I've got to get it to the other side and then finish simplifying it from there. So if I'm dividing by c here, what do you think I'm going to do?
Multiply by c.
So I want to multiply by c. I'm going to write these symbols a lot of different ways. Sometimes you're going to have the snowflake. Sometimes it's going to be a dot. But all these extra symbols they throw at you is just multiplication. So now I have 28 equals 4c. So what do I have to do with a 4? If it's multiplying on this side, what's the opposite operation? I'm dividing by 4, and c equals 7. Thank you. Do you guys see how these are set up? We didn't have any practice ones yesterday. I was looking through the whole book and I couldn't find this example here. But if there's a situation where there is a variable at the bottom, you're basically just rewriting the equation. And it's kind of like what I told you guys yesterday. Sometimes your answers aren't going to match up with what you think that they should be. But remember, if I want to rearrange this problem, I could say 50 divided by x equals 10, right? I could switch it and say 50 divided by 10 equals x, and it means the same thing, right? I could say 10 times x equals 50, or I could say x times 10 equals 50, but nobody ever writes an equation this way because coefficients are always that way. I saw someone trying to put the variable first. That's not going to be right. I've never seen any math book or any math worksheet anywhere with a variable first. Got it? Variables always come after the number because a coefficient is set up with a number and a variable every single time. Make sense? Okay, so the other thing I have to show you, and let me switch this over, is what these problems are going to look like. So give me a second to readjust this. And I need, sorry, it's not going to be my best video. I need to show you how to tackle these problems that have a multi-step word problem and they want you to write an equation. These are no different from any other word problem you had in fourth grade with 2 steps. These are actually probably 4th grade level problems, but now you have to write an equation that matches the problem, okay? So when you're doing this, you have to kind of dissect the problem and pull it apart. These are rambling word problems usually, aren't those the tricky ones? Okay, so if you pull out the important stuff and come up with your math plan is going to be written in a math sentence. If you can do that, these are super easy. These are the tricky ones that people have a harder time with. So look at this first one. It says, last week Mary picked 4 baskets of 8 tomatoes. What operation are you already thinking in your head? Multiply. You've got 4 math doors to open. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. One leads to paradise, and the other 3 lead to fire and doom. You got to open the right door, or you're going to end up in the wrong spot. So when I see 4 baskets of 8 tomatoes, I'm already doing this in my head. Okay? This week she picked 3 baskets of 13 tomatoes. Are you thinking multiply again? Yeah. 3 of 13. How many more? This right here tells me I'm going to do what next? Subtract. Okay? So my math options are add, subtract, multiply, divide. Everybody thinks math is hard, but there's really 4 options that you're picking from. Then it says, how many more tomatoes, T? You want my answer to be T. Does Mary pick this week than last week? You guys don't even have to find the answer. Isn't that nice? So I've got, this week is 3 baskets of 13. Isn't 3 times 13 going to give you a bigger number? So doesn't that have to go first? Yeah. So I'm going to do 3 times 13 in parentheses. Then what symbol do I need? Subtraction. Then I've got 4 times 8, close parentheses, equals, what variable did they pull out for this one? T. This is going to be your answer on A, B, C, and D. That's all you're looking for. You don't have to find the answer. And usually my smarty pants kids want to just tell me what the answer is. It's not about the answer. It's about the equation. Okay? So let's look at this one here. This one's, I remember this one from last year. It was a mess. This one says a costume designer sews 4 rows of 16 beads. If you see a row situation, what are you thinking? Multiply. Good. So I got 4 rows of 16 on a princess costume, 5 rows of 15 beads on a butterfly costume, and 3 rows of 17 beads on a ballerina costume. I'm already out of breath. This is a rambly one. Okay, so I'm already bracketing or putting parentheses around these and multiplying. Okay, how many more beads are sewn on the costume with the most beads that are sewn on the costume with the least number of beads. So on this one, you gotta do some multiplying first to find the answer. But if you had to tell me your math plan, what would it be for this? What would you do? Yeah.
3 times 72.
Okay. So that's a good start. And then what would you do after that? Olivia?
4 times 6.
Uh-huh. And then,
5 times 50.
and Warren, what would I be looking for after that?
The one that had the costume that has the most beads and the costume that has the least beads.
I'm gonna take the biggest number and the smallest number and do what?
Divide.
Nope, not divide. Subtract, because I'm looking for the difference. This is a comparing problem. Comparing problems usually have first steps that you have to take, and then you're just subtracting. Are we good on this? So this is, I'm not gonna go through all these because I just want you guys to practice them. And then we're